Hello, friends. I come to you with an audio story, How to Think Like a Genius, Part 1. I am Priya and I am speaking to you via Vivek Estate Isles near Golden Temple, Amritsar. Now, this is going to be a very thought-provoking journey because we are basically going to talk about thoughts. Now, what is that one thing that we are faced in our life every day regularly? You know what is it? It is a question mark. We are faced with a lot of problems that leave us confused. Sometimes we know the answers, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we know how to solve, but we wish that we had a more creative approach. And that is what we are going to talk to you about. I would like to mention to you a concept called lateral thinking. This was given to us, this concept, by Edward de Bono in 1967. And he says that there is a solution to a problem. In fact, there can be more than one solution to a problem, which are taken from an entirely different perspective, which are taken from different angles, and we come out with a lot of creativity. And not only we end up solving the problem, but we end up solving the problem in a manner which is different and which makes us more successful, and it gives us a creative satisfaction. In other words, my friends, let us think out of the box. Let us not confine ourselves into one tight box and not look outside the box. Now, in this video, I will give you two examples of how people used extremely creative solutions, lateral thinking, and ended up with very wise answers and wise solutions. And after that, I have a few questions for you. In the second video, we will discuss how we can develop these genius ideas and how we can have creative thinking, lateral thinking, and be successful in our lives. So, let me present to you this very interesting example from old times. I'm sure you have heard of King Solomon. What a person and what awesome thinking skills he had. Now, once in his darbar, in his court, there were two young ladies who came with a baby. And they were shouting and screaming, and tears were flowing down their cheeks because each one claimed, "Oh, my emperor, this is my baby." Imagine two ladies coming with one baby and claiming that the baby is hers. The king listened for a few minutes, but King Solomon was known for his wisdom, and he called one of his soldiers. And he says, "Take out your sword and cut the baby into two. These women are not listening to me. Half of the baby will be given to the women in blue and the other one to the women in pink." As soon as he had uttered these words, the lady in blue said, "No, no, 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 my lord, no, my emperor. I don't want the baby. You can give it to the other lady." Do you know, friends? King Solomon at once ordered that the baby should be given to the lady dressed in blue. Why? Because no mother can see that her baby is hurt. And that is why the real mother at once thought that she could part from her baby, but she could not see her baby killed. So that was an example, and the other lady was punished. Okay, now let me give you one more example. Let's call it Help Me My Son. Once upon a time, there was an old man and he was a farmer and he was poor. Now, unfortunately, his son was in prison and he was accused of robbing some very valuable things, and the son had not robbed at all, but the case was pending. Now, this was the time when the crops had to be planted, but the land was not cultivated. It was in a very bad shape, as you can see. So the father wrote a letter to the son saying that I needs the land to be cultivated. How will I plant the crops? But how can I do it myself? Now, friends, this son, who was very intelligent, used creative thinking. He wrote a letter back to his father, and he knew that his letters were being screened. The police were not supposed to read his letters, but they were. So he said, Father, no, you should not talk of digging that land. Under the land are hidden those valuable things. You know what I am talking about. After 3 days, the father wrote a letter to his son saying, Son, the land is all dug up. I have planted the seeds. And I don't know why, but the police came and dug it all up. The son wrote back saying, Father, maybe some confusion, but yeah, I can now feel that you will have no problem. So the son used creative thinking. That is what he could do from there. So understand that when we use our minds, we all have the talent, we all have the capabilities of approaching problems with a different mindset. We just have to use those techniques. So let me ask you this problem and see that if you can work it out. The answer will be in the next video. Or if you can work it out, you can write it in the comment section. So this is called Can You Help the Poor Farmer? So once upon a time, there was a poor farmer and he fell in love. Now when you fall in love, you don't see whether the other person is rich, poor, whatever. He fell in love with a beautiful princess. The princess also fell in love with him and both wanted to get married. Now the king was known for his just and fair nature, and it was said that he never differentiated on the basis of caste or financial position. So he, along with his mother, approached the king and said, I would like your daughter's hand in marriage and we love each other. The king was actually very perturbed, disturbed. He discussed with his courtiers and he didn't know what to do. He could not publicly say that no, you cannot marry my daughter because you are poor. But then he hit upon an idea. He called the peasant and said, the idea is that I will let destiny decide your destiny. I will not make a decision. So generally where we call all the people for open discussions, that is in the field next to my palace, we will call everyone and there will be 2 royal bowls, and in each bowl there will be a chit. In one chit will be written marriage, in one chit will be written exile. You will pick up a slip. If you pick up marriage, you can marry my daughter. But if you pick up exile, you will leave the kingdom and never come back. The peasant said, fine. He trusted his love. He had faith. But then the farmer, the peasant and farmers are synonyms. They are same meaning. So the farmer had a friend in the royal court, and somehow the friend heard the king saying that he would, in both the chits, write exile. Obviously, the peasant would have to go. Now, when the peasant came to know of it, he also was very smart, and he planned something where he would still win the prince's hand. Now, I want you to think, what did he plan? Now, this is where the lateral thinking will come handy, because if you say that the peasant planned that he would run away with the princess. Traditional approach, I would not call it an out of the box approach. Or you may even say that the peasant that day will pull both the slips out and show it to the people. Seriously? Don't you think the king's army will attack him, or the king will be very angry with him and say something like, I was testing you? So these are not the approaches, but I want you to think and reflect on what approach did the farmer adopt and ended up being successful. That is one. Let's move to the second one. The second one has to do with police. In a certain state, the police came to know that a murderer was present in this house that you see. Now, they did not know what the murderer looked like, but they only knew that his name is John and that he was inside the house. Now, the police conducted a surprise raid and they just burst into the house. There they saw there was a carpenter, lorry driver, fireman and a mechanic, and they were all playing cards. Without hesitation, the police went and arrested the fireman. I want to ask you, how did they know that John was the fireman or the fireman was John? They had no communication, there was no hesitation on their part, and there were 4 people there. So you have to tell me how. And last but not least, a teeny-meeny baby question. This little baby that you see, actually he fell down from a 20-story building. But you see, he's still smiling, he's still laughing. Can you tell me why? So I leave you with these questions and again give you one example from very recent times that is totally out of the box. Samsung has started this when they deliver their products. That is done in boxes. Now if you see on the left side of the sofa is a cat house. That was actually a television box. And you can see the cat enjoying. So friends, I leave you with some good thoughts of these times being difficult, but our thinking should be easy because great minds think not alike but differently. Think easy thoughts, but think creative thoughts. Be different, think different. Thank you. If you like this, please share it and subscribe to our channel, IELTS Mehra. Thank you.